Okay then. So let us start our discussion this on half wave rectifier. Fine. So how to make an half wave rectifier? Let us discuss it step by step. So initially we need a supply voltage, that is Vi. It may be the supply voltage in your house, right? And it has to be connected with a transformer because we need to first step it down. So you have to use the step down transformer, where if the number of turns for this primary coil is N1 and the number of turns in the secondary coil is N2, then obviously if it is step down, you know the N1 has to be greater than N2, right? So this is the secondary coil, and here suppose the required voltage is Vs. Fine. And now after that we have to connect one diode, PN junction diode, with which there will be one resistance connected, and we have to take the output across this resistor, right? So then what happens? So let us focus from here, this Vs only. So this Vs is obviously one sinusoidal signal, right? So let us say the Vs is like this. Okay. And if Vs is an AC and sinusoidal signal with a amplitude of suppose this, okay, how much? Vm. So this is the amplitude, with a amplitude of this Vm, right? And it's a periodic signal. So what will happen? What do you expect at V output? Rectified output. Yes, that is true. So let us see why. So this is basically V output. So if you see V output, then you have to see the black line. So this is V output, this is V output, right? And for your understanding, this pink color or the original Vs signal, this signal is also shown in a dotted line, right? So you can see now clearly there is some difference between this Vs and V0. Tell me why. Yes, the difference, right, between this Vs and V0 is due to the voltage drop across this diode. Because when the diode is conducting, that means when this is positive and when this is negative, then the diode is conducting. At that time, one voltage drop of 0.7 volt will be there across this PN junction diode, and that's actually resulting in this difference between this Vs to V0, isn't it? Right. So now if you notice here a bit carefully, then we have also indicated the position of V gamma here. Have you seen? This is the point, right? This is the V gamma point. So until the drop across this diode or this Vs, you can, or in other way you can say the Vs is reaching that value of V gamma, this diode is not conducting. You remember last class, piecewise linear model. So when this Vd is less than V gamma, I equal to 0, right? That means open circuit. This diode is open circuit. So till this Vs is reaching to this V gamma, there is the diode is not conducting. So if the diode is not conducting, then no current is flowing. So the drop across this resistance or this V0 will be 0. So that's why you can see it is not actually starting at the same position, but it's starting a bit late. Similarly, when this original signal Vs is falling down, it also not goes up to this complete the total thing here, right? But before that only, right? Because here also when this signal is falling down, once it's coming below this V gamma, Vs is becoming V gamma, again this diode is off. So you don't have any output there. So the signal will look something like this, right? Okay. Now what will happen let me pick other color. So this is sinusoidal, right? So initially it was positive, this was negative, so this is this half that we have discussed, right? Now what about during this half? So during this half, this will now become negative and this will become now positive. So when I am saying this potential, right, this the polarity of this Vs, right? So if the polarity of this Vs is now like this, so this diode is now in reverse bias, and from the piecewise linear model, you know, at that time diode is not conducting. So diode is not conducting means open circuit. So what will be the current flowing through this? 0. So if the current is 0, what is this V naught? V naught is nothing but current into this resistance, right? V, you know, V equal to IR. So then the voltage drop across this R or this V output will also become 0. So you can see after that here it is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, right? Now this is sinusoidal signal, right? After a certain amount of time it has to again start rising. Now think about this point, okay, this 0 point. Now when it is started rising, so until this V gamma, again there will be no conduction. That's why you can see that this has started rising, but until this reaches V gamma, there is no conduction, means V output will remain at 0. So you can see here between this and this region, right, here the V output is 0, right? Once this Vs has crossed this V gamma, then you can see the output, this V out, right, it will exactly follow the shape of this Vs, isn't it? Okay, if it is so, then let me ask you one more question here. Now tell me, this is the voltage dropping across this resistance, right? Now if I ask you what will be the voltage drop across this diode, okay, for this complete cycle, or if I ask you what is Vd, then can you draw the plot of Vd as well? Can you? It's not tough, right? So let us do that. So let us plot here this Vd in this plot C, right? So here you can see this pink color dashed line. So this is basically actually the original signal. Now tell me here, so until the diode or until this Vs reaches this V gamma, this diode is not conducting. Now that means whatever voltage we are increasing, that has to fall across this diode, right? Because remember, piecewise linear model, this is now open circuit. Open circuit means whatever is the voltage, it will be dropping across the here only. So diode voltage will start rising. So till the diode voltage rise to 0.7 or V gamma, okay, the diode will not conduct, right? So you can see then, so up to here the voltage drop across this diode is actually increasing with increasing Vs, right? Now once this Vs is more than V gamma, then the diode will start conducting, right? Current will flow, but we know that the drop across this diode will remain at 0.7 or V gamma only. So that is why you can see after that the diode, the voltage drop across this diode had remained constant till this point, right? Again, using the same logic what we have used to explain this region, this diode voltage will again drop, right, till 0. So we can explain this part. Now what will happen here in this reverse direction, okay, or for the signal it is this direction. Okay, now let us see what is happening here. So when the signal polarity has changed, means the negative bias, so this is negative, this is positive, diode is open circuit. So diode is open circuit means the total voltage, whatever voltage is you are applying here, the entire voltage will have to drop across this diode. No, that means Vd will exactly follow the Vs. So we can say that Vd will exactly follow this Vs. All right. So then we can explain from here till here. That means one complete cycle we can explain. Okay, so after that what? After that again the same thing will repeat here, right? So now we can explain what will be the waveform at output and what will be the waveform across this diode itself. Now there is homework for you, that is you have to plot the variation of current flowing through this circuit with time. Okay, now let me ask you here one more question. So suppose I want to plot this thing, V output versus V supply voltage. Please tell me how this V output versus V supply voltage or this signal will look like. Yes, please tell me. So this is Vs is 0, right? So Vs is 0 here. Okay, so when Vs is below 0, so that means when it is reverse, when this polarity is this one, right? In the negative direction, polarity is this. Then what will be the value of V naught? You know that. So V naught is here, basically 0, right? Then we can say it will be like this, isn't it? Right. Then we are considering the forward bias, this part or maybe this part. Then we are considering forward bias till the diode reaches V gamma, means the Vs reaches V gamma, diode is not on, right? So from that point of view, suppose this is V gamma, what we can say, till V gamma output is 0, right? Then what? Then how the curve will look like after V gamma? So you see that after V gamma, the voltage drop across this diode become constant, right? Then what is V naught? You already know that, right? Then the V naught is nothing but Vs minus 0.7. Isn't it? That means this V naught will exactly follow Vs thereafter. So that means after that it will increase linearly. And can you tell me what is the slope? Slope will be 1, right? That is also clear from you from here, right? You see this line? This is a straight line equation, right? Right. So for this type of rectifier, only half part of the sinusoidal wave is actually coming to the output, right? For example, for this circuit, only the positive half is coming at the output, right? So that actually justifies the name, this half wave, right? And rectifier, obviously, because it is passing only the one half of the signal, the remaining half it is actually blocking, right? So you see here, for this half wave rectifier, the power is only been dissipated only during this positive half for this particular case, right? Power is only dissipated in the positive half. Negative half, no power because current is 0, right? There is no power dissipation. So from that point of view, it seems that half wave rectifier is fine, right? Because it is not dissipating, it is using only the positive half, you know, that way we are getting some DC. But here I would urge you to also think about this portion, right? Suppose if we are also getting this portion as a type of rectified one here, then the energy which has been contained in this region, we would also be able to get that energy, right? That energy is missing here for this half wave rectifier, isn't it? Also, there are few terms related to this half wave rectifier. Let us discuss these terms in the next page. Fine. So here you can see the same half wave rectifier circuit that you have seen in the last page, right? Where Vs is the voltage in the transformer secondary winding, and this is also sinusoidal, right? If this Vi is sinusoidal. So if this Vs is sinusoidal, then the current which is flowing through this circuit, if suppose this is I of t, then that will also be sinusoidal, isn't it? And let us say that signal is I of t is Im sine of omega t, right? And you know this diode can conduct only when this is positive, this is negative, means only in the positive half. So in other words, we can say the diode can conduct only for half of its time period, right? So we can say like I of t equal to this of when t is in between, right, 0 to t by 2, and this I of t is equal to 0 for t between t by 2 to t, right? You remember? So this is 0, this is t by 2, this is t, where t is the time period of this sinusoidal signal, right? Now if this is so, and if I ask you to find the average current, okay, in this rectified output, then how can you find it? So in general, the average current is expressed in this way: 1 by t integration 0 to t I of t dt. So that if you now here substitute, so 0 to t by 2, it is Im sine of omega t dt, right? We have split the signal into two parts. So one is 0 to t by 2, then the other part is from t by 2 to t, but there the amplitude is 0. So we can write here directly then 0, right? So basically then it Im, so basically it is Im by t, and you know integration of 0 to t by 2, integration of sine of omega t, that will give this minus cos of omega t by here this omega, and here between t to t by 2, isn't it? Now if we substitute this value, but before that we have to think about this omega. What is omega? Omega equal to 2 pi by t. So right, so that way we can also take out omega now here. By the way, let me write this is Im, right? So then what we can write, this is by t into here this is omega, so omega is basically 2 pi by t, so it is t by 2 pi then, right? And if you now substitute here this cos of two pi by t into this here negative sign, then plus cos of then this 0, right? So this t cancel out, here this cancel out, so this become cos of pi. So this cos of pi is minus 1, so before that we have minus, so it is 1, 1 plus 1 2, so basically it is Im by 2 pi into 2, so it is Im by pi, right? So we can see then the average value of current for a half wave rectifier is Im by 2. You understood what is Im? So suppose the sinusoidal signal is current waveform is this, then this is basically the Im. Fine. So If it is so, if I ask you, then what will be the V average? So that will be also, should be able to find, that will be Vm by pi. Sometimes this I average is also called as IDC. The next term is IRMS. Okay, so you need to find out the value of IRMS for this half wave rectified output. So this is basically this, then this I, right, or basically I of t. You remember this is t by 2 to t. This is time. So in general, to find this RMS value for any signal, generally we use this expression, right? 1 by t integration of this I square of t dt, isn't it? So if we now substitute it here, but if we do substitute, it might look bit complicated. Everywhere we have to write this root over. So let us do other way. Let us take a square of that. We will find the IRMS last. So it is, what is I of t? I of t is Im sine of omega t dt, right? Here it will be sine square omega t dt, isn't it? Now thus what will be the limit? This to t by 2, right? Because from t by 2 to t the value is 0, so we are not writing it here. Now it is 1 by t integration t by 2. We can probably take Im square out, and this is sine square, right? Integration of sine square, so that can be written as 1 minus cos of 2 omega t by 2 into dt. So let us take this 2 out, so basically Im square by 2t. Then if we do that integration, so basically it will come as t minus sine of 2 omega t by 2 omega, right? Limit is 0 to t by 2, isn't it? Now if we just try to simplify it a bit more, it will be Im square by 2t, right? Now let us substitute these values. This is t by 2 minus this is sine of, you remember this is 2 pi by t into t by 2 by, here let us keep this omega as it is, then here minus 0, then plus sine of 0 by 2 omega, right? Now sine 0 is 0. Now you see here, this is sine of pi. What is the value of sine of pi? Just a minute, I think I have missed here 1 2, because this 2 was there, right? So I am putting this 2 here, so it is 2. So basically it is then sine of 2 pi, right? So sine of 2 pi is what? Again 0, right? So this 0, then this also becomes 0, right? Basically then it is Im square by 2t into t by 2. Right, so this is actually what? This is, you remember, this is IRMS square, see here, right? Then what is IRMS? IRMS will be equal to Im by 2, right? So this is the RMS value. This is in terms of current. So if I ask you what will be the value of VRMS, I hope you should be also able to find that out. So now, as we know the magnitude of IDC and the magnitude of IRMS, we should be able to calculate the efficiency in case of half wave rectifier, and that efficiency has been calculated as DC output power by AC input power. Okay, and generally this efficiency is represented in percentage, so it will be in percentage. So what is the DC output power? It is IDC, that square, into the resistance R, right, output resistance. What is the AC input power? It is IRMS square into the resistance, right, into 100%. You remember? Let me quickly draw the circuit again. This is RL, right, and here is this supply voltage Vs, right. So as a result, this current I of t was flowing, isn't it? So if this load resistance is RL, as I have denoted here, then I should also mention here RL and RL, right. So remember that this diode will also offer one resistance, which is RF, that is forward bias diode resistance, but we are neglecting this resistance, okay, for our calculation. So basically it simply comes out to be IDC square by IRMS square, which you now substitute the values. So you should get this IM square by pi square, and here it is IM square by 4, right. It's gone, it's supposed to be 4 by pi square, right. And if you just make this calculation, it comes out to be that the efficiency in case of half wave rectifier is 40.0%, right. And you remember that in half wave rectifier we are getting the power only because of, for this circuit, because of this positive hubs, right. The negative hub, okay, this hub this power we are not getting. So that's why you can see the efficiency is quite low in case of half wave rectifier, right. There is another parameter for rectifier that we should discuss, that is called ripple factor. Fine, and it is denoted by the symbol small r. In short, if we have to say like what is ripple, then you can think of it like this. So this is the basically output of an half wave rectifier, right. It may be the voltage, it may be the current, right. Here this is the time, this axis may be voltage or current, right. And this is the 0. 0 means the magnitude wise 0. Now as we are using this rectifier, so we expect that we give some AC input, and at this output we will get the DC value, right. So DC means what? Suppose if you have to plot a DC in the same plot, then how does it look like? So one DC would be probably look like this, right. Isn't a straight line, right, with a fixed magnitude, right. But you see, at the output of our rectifier, or the half wave rectifier, what we are getting is this one, though the negative part or the negative half of this AC signal was clipped by this diode, right. But still is type the value we are getting that is fluctuating. That means we can say still some ripples are there or some ripples are present in this output signal, right? In this output some ripples are present. It is not actually pure DC. You understood? So that this part is called this ripple. Now how to find this ripple factor? So ripple factor R can be expressed by this IR RMS by IDC. Fine. So that means we are considering for this signal, it is now we are considering the current part. So it is I, right, current. So what is IR RMS? RMS you know, IR is the ripple current, okay, the RMS value of ripple current. IDC you already know, we have already calculated what is the value of IDC. So basically R is the ratio of RMS value of ripple to the DC value. Now for this signal we have also extracted the value of IRMS, right, and we can write this IRMS square equal to IDC square plus IR RMS square, right. This IRMS was actually this part DC part plus IR RMS part. Fine. So from here we need to substitute here IRMS. So we have to find what is IR RMS. So how can you find IR RMS? It is nothing but IRMS square minus IDC, that square, right. Now we know this value as well as this value. Let us substitute it. This by 4 minus Im square by pi square, right. Now if you calculate it this into Im, right. Then what is this ripple factor? The value, it is IR RMS by IDC, right. We have seen it here. So just now substitute the values. IR RMS is 0.385 of Im, and what is IDC? What is IDC? It is nothing but Im by pi, right. So this get cancelled. So it basically this into this, and if you do it, right, so you get a ripple factor of 1.21. okay. Now here in this context I would like to mention that the less the value magnitude of ripple factor, okay, the better is the rectifier. So that means for a DC value the ripple factor would be minimum, right, and as the ripple factor value increases, that means you can think of like there are more ripples, right, more fluctuations in this output part, right. Okay, so this is another important parameter. Another important parameter in case of any rectifier circuit is the peak inverse voltage. Or in short, it is also called as PIV. So what is this PIV? To discuss that, let us again draw the circuit first. So this is RL, this is the supply voltage Vs, right, and this is an sinusoidal signal, right. So this Vs of t is basically Vm sine of omega t, right. So if we plot it this is time, this is also time, and here it is voltage axis, right? And say this is Vm, right? This is 0. Then what will be the output here? This output would be like this, like this. And what will be the amplitude here? Vm? No, have you forgotten this gamma part? So it should be Vm minus V gamma, right? This magnitude, Vm minus V gamma, right? Now, so when the diode is forward bias, then for this half or this positive half, diode is conducting the current, and the amount of current that is flowing through this, right, that will be determined by this load resistance RL, and you should make sure that the diode can withstand that amount of current, otherwise the diode will burn. Fine. So you need to choose this resistance value accordingly. Right. Now what is happening in the reverse bias or for this cycle? So here there is no current, right? So nothing is flowing through this. So it is open circuit. So that means at reverse bias, the complete Vm, so if this is plus Vm, then this is what? This is minus Vm, right? Then this total maximum value of voltage is minus Vm will be dropped across this diode during the reverse bias, right? So the maximum voltage drop across a diode in a rectifier when it is not conducting is called its peak inverse voltage or PIV. So then PIV for an half wave rectifier is nothing but Vm, right? Now why this parameter is important? Because this Vm should be always much lower than the breakdown voltage of the diode, isn't it? Right, because this diode have to withstand this voltage every time it goes to the reverse bias, and if the diode's breakdown voltage right is lower than this Vm, then what will happen? The diode will break down, right, during the reverse bias only, and we don't want that. So always we have to choose Vm, okay, or the PIV, such that the PIV is much lower than the diode breakdown voltage. Means we should not operate this diode, okay, beyond its rated breakdown voltage. In fact, we should not go towards even breakdown voltage. We should operate at much lower voltage than the rated breakdown voltage. Suppose, to give you one example, suppose for this diode, if the breakdown voltage is given as 20 volt, then probably it will be in the safe side if we design this circuit for with a PIV of 12 to 15 volt only. Is it clear? Okay then. Yes. So sometime back we have discussed about the half wave rectifier, and we have also seen that in case of half wave rectifier, the output is only the half cycle of the input sinusoidal signal, right? The other half is simply blocked by the diode. That's why it was half wave rectifier, right? But can we do something in the circuit or change in that circuit so that not only the half cycle, but we will get the complete sinusoidal cycle get rectified at its output? So can we do that? The answer is yes, by using full wave rectifier. So this is one circuit diagram of a full wave rectifier. Here you have definitely identified this is the transformer primary winding, but here what might be little different so far what we have studied. Here you can see there is one tapping from the center of the secondary coil of this transformer. So this is called the center tapped transformer. Fine. So this is center tapped transformer. Fine, center tapped transformer. Okay, and the number of windings from here to here, right, is exactly equal to the number of windings from here to here, right? So that means if the voltage at the secondary winding, the top of the secondary winding is Vs, then the same voltage will also be there at the bottom part of this winding, right? And suppose when this cycle is for the positive half of the cycle, this is positive, this is negative, and at that time this will be the polarity will be positive, this polarity will be negative, this polarity will be positive, and this polarity will be negative. You got my point? Now this part or this top part of the center tap transformer is connected with the diode D1, okay, and this bottom part is connected with the another diode is D2, okay, and these two are now connected here, and one resistance, that is the output or load resistance, is been connected from this output of D1 and D2 with that of this center tap position. And as this is center tap, you can see here this is Vs, this is Vs, so obviously this is the ground potential, so that has also been indicated here. Fine. Now let us see what is happening. So in the positive half, during the positive half cycle, so let us consider this is the positive half cycle and we are using this black color to denote that. Okay, so during positive cycle, this is positive, this is negative, so this is positive, negative, positive, negative, right? And both voltages are equal. Okay, so when the polarity is like this diode is on, so that means one current can flow through this, so this current can flow through this. Okay, we'll come back to that. Now what about this diode? This diode is reverse bias, because you see here this is negative and this negative is connected with the p side of the diode, so this diode cannot conduct, so it is open circuit. So basically it is now open, means nothing is there in between, right? So then if this is open, then the current cannot flow through here, right? Then the same current has to flow from here, right? And when it reach here, it has to flow through this. So the direction of current flow is from the top to bottom, right? And once it reach here, then it can come back here. So basically this fill the complete cycle. Are you getting my point? From here to here to here to here, right? Okay, let us then pick another color to show what is happening in the negative half cycle. So we are considering the blue color, right? We have chosen blue color to demonstrate the negative half cycle. So in negative half cycle, this become negative, this become positive, right? Now when this is positive, so what will be the polarity of voltage at the secondary winding? So now this will become negative, this become positive, this become negative, this become positive. Now when this is negative, and you see D1 is connected, the P side of this D1 is connected with the negative, so now this will become open circuit, isn't it? So that means nothing is here. But now here you see this is positive and this positive terminal is connected with this diode, so that means one current will definitely flow, but the current cannot flow, this current cannot flow through this because this is open circuit. So this current will go like this, go with here, then it cannot flow to this side, but it can flow through this. So the current will take a path like that, and then when it reach here, it can flow through this. So the current can flow through this, and finally after from here it can go to ground, or maybe you can see that the circuit is getting complete through this. So what is the flow of path, this current path? Starting from here, follow my cursor, this one, yes, this, right? So this is the complete path, right? So one thing you can see, or you have noticed from this diagram, is that for this positive hub as well as for the negative hub, the current are flowing through this resistor R, through this resistor denoted by the value R here, okay, in the same direction. So if the currents are flowing in the same direction, that means the polarity of voltage that has been developed here, that will be also in the same direction, isn't it? Right? Okay. Now let us again pick another color to demonstrate that. So let us consider one sinusoidal signal, this Vs. So Vs is a sinusoidal signal, right? The same Vs will also be here. So suppose this Vs is this one, okay. Oops. Okay, this is the sinusoid, the red one. So I am pointing, this is Vs. So if this Vs is like this, so during the positive half cycle, we can see this D1 is on. So we can see here this D1 is on, right? And the circuit path is like this. So what will be the output voltage? V0. So output voltage will be, so V0 will be basically Vs minus V gamma drop across this diode, because this diode is now in forward bias, follow this black one, right? So we will get an output waveform, like this, okay, and there will be some difference between this Vs and this V output. So maybe let me write it here as this V output, this green one, and the difference between these two is this V gamma, isn't it? Okay. Now see what is happening in the negative half cycle. So in the negative half cycle, this diode was conducting, but as a result the current was flowing through the same direction. That means the voltage drop across this R, this resistor R, will be the same, right, as that when the current was flowing through this diode. So that means here also we will get one output which is like this, right? Again here, what will be the difference between this Vs and V output? That is again will be V gamma, because now there will be a voltage drop of V gamma for this diode, isn't it? So we have started from time t equal to 0, then we have seen this is t by 2, this, right? This is the time period, right? This to this t, total t. Now we can see from 0 to t by 2 here, and then this is t, the complete time period. So after that what will happen? The same thing will just repeat, right? So here you can see even for the positive half cycle we are getting the output, for the negative half cycle also we are getting the output, and the polarity of output, like this is the which we have indicated by this green color. So you can see the polarity of output is actually in the same direction for both cycle of the input sinusoidal signal, right? Now if I ask you about this plot, that is this V output versus this V supply voltage, Vs plot, then can you please tell me how this plot will look like. In case of full wave rectifier, we have done this same thing for half wave rectifier. Yes. So we know that this is the zero voltage, supply voltage 0, right? Now, till this Vs become equal to this V gamma, there is no output, right? So basically from here to V gamma, the output is 0, right? This is basically V gamma. That is for the positive half. Similarly, for the negative half also we can see from here. You see from here, till this voltage is becoming minus of V gamma, this diode will also not start conducting. So for minus V gamma also, the diode up till minus V gamma, the diode will not conduct, means the output will become 0 only, right? Then what? Then after that it will be the same phenomenon, right? That means with increasing Vs, the output will increase linearly, right? Like this. And right, isn't it? So after this V gamma, V output will exactly follow this Vs. So what will be the slope? Yes, slope is 1, right? Here too this slope will be 1, right? Because here V output exactly follow, after this V gamma, V output will exactly follow this Vs, right? So here in this plot, see what we are actually plotting. We are plotting output, right? Output is V naught versus input. Input is here Vs. So this type of characteristics are called the transfer characteristics, and transfer means output by input. And as we are denoting here the voltage, then we should write it as voltage transfer characteristics. Voltage transfer characteristics. Fine. Okay, let me pick another color to discuss another thing here. So far I hope that you have understood. So then what about this PIV for this full wave rectifier using this center tap transformer setup? So what is PIV? It is the peak inverse voltage. So we need to find what is the maximum voltage that each diode will experience when this diode is not conducting or the diode is in reverse bias, right? So this is Vs, right? This is the Vs signal, and suppose this Vs signal, the maximum value is Vm. Okay, this maximum value is Vm. Then that means what I am saying is that this value is Vm. So similarly, this is also Vm, but it is minus Vm, right? So this maximum value of this input sinusoidal is Vm. Okay. Then what will be the PIV? Please try to find it out. When one diode is in reverse bias, what is the voltage dropping across that diode? Maybe if we change the circuit or redraw the circuit little bit in a other way, then it would be probably helpful for us. So let us draw it here quickly. This is the primary winding, right? This is the secondary winding, right? This is the center tap. Now we are connecting the resistance here only. So actually if you think about these two circuit, so basically they are same, right? What we are just doing, we are just connecting this resistance, just taking this resistance and putting it inside. That's all we are doing here, right? It's basically the same circuit. So but it will help us in our discussion. So for example, let us consider the first positive half cycle of this primary. So it is positive negative, so this is positive negative, this is positive negative. So you know PIV is the maximum voltage, right? So and the maximum voltage of this VS or here, or the maximum voltage here, that is either plus Vm or minus Vm. So let us consider with the Vm only, right? So here then it will be maximum is Vm. This is at that time the polarity will be like this. Now here this diode is on and can conduct, this diode is off, right? Okay, if it is so, then please tell me what is the voltage drop across this resistance R. Obviously we have done that, right? When this is Vm, then the voltage drop across this R would be how much? Vm minus V gamma, because one V gamma voltage drop will occur across this diode. But what will be the polarity of this voltage drop? See here, current is flowing like this here, so the current is flowing here. So the polarity of this drop across here would be like this, isn't it? Remember this is the polarity, right? So this is for the positive half cycle when this diode D1 is conducting and this diode D2 is off, right? Okay, now let us focus our concentration to this diode D2 and this lower part of the circuit. So now if you apply a KVL, this diode is not conducting, so here there is a voltage drop of Vm and here there is a voltage drop of Vm minus V gamma. And if you consider the polarity of this, then what can you say about the voltage drop across this diode? Then the voltage drop across this diode is, across this diode D2 is how much? This two will be just addition, right? This is plus, this is minus. So it will become V2Vm, means we have to add this one and this one. So 2Vm minus V gamma, right? So this is the peak inverse voltage in case of a full wave rectifier when we use this center tapped configuration. Okay, and do you remember what was the value of PIV for a half wave rectifier? It was how much? Vm minus V gamma only, right? So it was Vm minus V gamma. So do you remember what was the PIV in case of a half wave rectifier? Yes, in case of half wave rectifier, the PIV was this Vm, right? Now if this Vm is quite higher than this V gamma, right, then we can probably neglect this part. Then we can say that compared to the half wave rectifier, for this full wave rectifier with center tapped transformer configuration, right, the PIV is almost 2 times. So is this good or bad? It's not good, right? So PIV 2 times means we need to use these diodes such, okay, we have to use these diodes whose breakdown voltage are much higher than that of our previous half wave rectifier, right? Otherwise during reverse bias this diode will undergo the breakdown. Fine. Yes, so this full wave rectifier can also be designed in this way or in this type of bridge circuit, and particularly this rectifier is called the bridge rectifier. Fine. So here see, just look into the circuit. This is the input, right, AC mains, and this is a transformer, primary winding, this is a secondary winding, and the turns ratio is N1 by N2 to get the required value of Vs here, right. So unlike the previous full wave rectifier, we are not using the center tap transformer here, right. Okay, then let us see what is happening. Now this top of this one side of this transformer is been connected here, and the other side of the second transformer secondary coil is connected here, right. And 4 diodes are used, D1, D2, D3 and D4 in this fashion, right, in this type of bridge fashion, and one resistance is been connected between this node and this node, and particularly this node is been grounded here, right. Now again consider 2 different cycles. So let us consider the first cycle here. So during this cycle, positive cycle, this is plus, this is minus. So when this is plus and this is minus, this is plus, this is minus. When this is plus, so you see this become plus, and this plus is now, if you look for this D3, then D3, this positive terminal is connected with the N side, so obviously D3 is now off. But what about D1? Yes, D1 connected with this P side, so D1 is on. Okay, now let us look into this side. This is negative, and so this is also negative. Here this negative is connected with the P side, so obviously this diode is off. Here this negative is connected with this diode N side, so this diode is on or forward bias, right. So let us see if the current can flow or not. So current during positive half cycle, it can flow like this, it cannot flow through this, but it can go like this, yes, then it cannot go like this, so it has to go like this, it has to go like this, and probably then like this. So if you ask me to draw the line to show the current conduction path, then it will be like this, isn't it, right. Okay, so the current here flowing through this resistor from this side to this side, so obviously this side would be positive voltage drop, means if the on voltage drop will be up, on voltage will drop across this, and this will be positive and this side will be the negative polarity, right. Okay, now what will be in the negative half cycle? So let us now see that by choosing another color. So let us say now we have chosen this blue color. So this negative half cycle, so it negative half cycle, this become negative, this become positive, this become negative, this becomes positive, right. So this negative, this positive. Let us just do it here, that would be better. So this was negative, so this is negative, this was positive, this was positive. Now as this is negative and this negative is connected here with this P side of this diode, so this is off. This positive is connected with this N side of this diode, so this diode is off. But you see this diode will be on, this diode will be on now, right. So the current can flow from here through this, through like this. So if I have to show the direction of current flow, then probably I should show it like this, right. and see through this resistance AR, the current is flowing from this direction to this direction. So that will create a voltage drop with a polarity like this. So here also you can see current flow through this resistance R for both cycles, positive and negative half cycle, are in the same direction. So that means the voltage drop across this resistance will have the same polarity, right? So if we have to demonstrate it here, so you can see it here, this from time t equal to 0, this Vs is the supply, this secondary voltage, right? So this Vs is this pink one or this red one, right? This Vs. Now if this Vs is this one, now let us see what will be the V output for the positive half cycle. So for the positive half cycle, the current flow is like this. So this Vs, basically then we can write here, this Vs is equal to, this is V gamma, right? So this is V gamma plus this is V output, right? Then here also there will be one V gamma. So it is V gamma like this. So then what is this V output? V output is nothing but Vs minus 2 V gamma, right? So that's how you can see this is the V output when shown in this dashed, shown using this black dashed line, right? This black dashed line, and this V gamma compared to this Vs, it is 2 V gamma lower than that. Means the difference between Vs and V output is 2 V gamma. But in the previous page we have seen for the center tap transformer case, center tap transformer full wave rectifier case, the voltage difference was only V gamma, right? Now what about in the negative half cycle? So in the negative half cycle also same thing will happen, because you see in this complete current path flow there are two diodes, and these two diodes have to be on. So V gamma drop here and V gamma drop here. So again this V output will be equal to Vs minus 2 V gamma. So that means this magnitude will also be Vs minus 2 V gamma, isn't it? Okay, now tell me what about the PIV, peak inverse voltage, for this case, for bridge rectifier case. So for bridge rectifier case, PIV, see here, any loop we can consider. So let us consider the first the positive half cycle. Okay, for this positive half cycle. So for the positive half cycle, you see this is the current path, right? And when this current is flowing through this, right, you know that there is a voltage drop, one voltage drop will occur, right, across this, and the polarity will be like this, that is V gamma. And when the current is flowing through this, one drop will occur across here too. And what will be this voltage drop? This will be Vs minus 2 V gamma, right? We have already seen this, right? It will be Vs minus 2 V gamma, because another voltage drop of V gamma will also occur here. So it will be Vs minus 2 V gamma, isn't it? So this is the drop across this resistance R. Okay, now if you consider this loop of circuit and apply KVL, so you see a voltage drop polarity like this of V gamma. You see another voltage drop with a polarity like this here, and whose magnitude is Vs minus 2 V gamma. And if you consider these two polarities, so they are basically additive. So this diode, which is now reverse bias, right? Then if I have to find the drop across this D3, then I should write here drop across D3 is basically Vs minus 2 V gamma plus V gamma. So basically this is Vs minus V gamma, right? and what is the right, so this is the Vs, and Vs is type of time varying signal, right? And what is the maximum of this Vs? So let us say that maximum of this is Vs, right? And the maximum of this Vs is Vm, right? So if this is Vm, so what we can say that Vd3 max, okay, that will become Vm minus V gamma. So this will be the PIV for this full wave rectifier with bridge in case of this bridge rectifier configuration, right? Vm minus V gamma. Got my point? Fine. Now if we have to compare these two full wave rectifier, one is this bridge rectifier and the other one is the center tap using the. Now if we have to compare these two full wave rectifier, one is this bridge rectifier and the other one that we have discussed in the last page, that is full wave rectifier using the center tap transformer, then what will be the difference? First difference obviously you can say in terms of PIV. Here the PIV is Vm minus V gamma. In earlier case the PIV was how much? In earlier case the PIV was 2 Vm minus V gamma. So here this PIV is lower, and that is one of the advantage for this bridge rectifier. And the other advantage in case of bridge rectifier, obviously that we have discussed just when we have started discussing this one, that is we don't need the center tap transformer. So what is the advantage? So suppose if you need center tap transformer and here the number of turns are suppose N2 to get a voltage Vs. So if you have to use the center tap transformer, then another N2 turns has to be there below, right? So this turns means the transformer become bulky as well as costly, isn't it? So that point of view also this bridge rectifier gives the advantage, right? Okay, what about the output voltage? Yes, for here output voltage is Vs minus 2 V gamma, because there are two diodes, okay, which are in series for any half of the cycle. Whereas in the previous case we have seen the output voltage is Vs minus V gamma, right? So that way the voltage drop in case of this bridge rectifier is bit more compared to the center tapped transformer, compared to that rectifier using the center tap transformer, right? So you also think of if there is any other difference that you can point it out. Fine. So there are some terms, right, that we have already derived and discussed during our discussion on the half wave rectifier. So let us quickly do the same thing for full wave rectifier as well. For example, for full wave rectifier, what will be the value of I average or this IDC, right? So this value would be 2Im by pi. Fine. You remember in case of half wave rectifier, what was the value of IDC? It was Im by pi, right? And for full wave rectifier, actually the output waveform is like this, right? This output, even the current, if you say the current output is like this with time, right? So compared to the half wave rectifier, so here we are getting both this for the positive half as well as for the negative half, right? We are getting the output. So this IDC would be 2 times that of this half wave rectifier. Now what about IRMS? IRMS for the full wave rectifier, it would be Im by root 2. So we are not deriving this thing here for the full wave rectifier because we have already done this thing for the half wave rectifier. I request you to please do this exercise and derive these things, the value of IDC and IRMS. Now if we know this I average and IRMS, what about the efficiency? You remember this percentage of efficiency that we have done for this half wave rectifier as well. So you remember what was that? It is this output DC power by input AC power, right, into 100%, right? You know how to find it. It will be like IDC square into the load resistance, and this part will be IRMS square into the load resistance. And if you substitute the value here, so you will be getting a value of 81.13 this. So do you remember what was the efficiency? What was the efficiency in case of this half wave rectifier? Yes. So for the half wave rectifier, this efficiency, which is also denoted by this symbol eta, okay, this eta value was 40.6%. So you can see for the full wave rectifier, right, this is almost 2 times, right? Okay. Then another important point is the ripple factor, isn't it? So you can follow the same process and find the ripple factor here, and if you calculate it, the ripple factor in case of this full wave rectifier output, then okay, by the way, what do you think, whether the ripple factor will decrease compared to that of half wave rectifier or it will increase? It will definitely decrease, right? Because compared to this half wave rectified output, right, this waveform is now much closer to that of DC, right? This is the half wave and this is full wave. Half wave rectified output, full wave rectified output, right? So if you calculate it, it will come 0.48, whereas for this half wave rectifier, this value was ripple factor value was 1.21. So these are the few things. Okay, please, we have not derived completely this thing here completely, so I request you to please do the derivation